front-loaded. The front-loaded expenses means you're not going to have all the money that you put in the early stages of the contract. But because the dividends that you receive if it's a whole life policy, or the interest that you earn if it's an index universal life policy, or the market returns that you might get if it's a variable life policy, over time those can grow. The variables will have fees, the indexes won't have fees necessarily, but there will be mortality and expense charges. So to compare it to putting money in pre-tax without any loads for other expenses like mortality and say it beats the pants off of it is disingenuous. I mean, come on. So George, if you need life insurance or you want an alternative way to save, you have a long time horizon, it can work out pretty good. I mean, they're actually very, very competitive. If you save the money for 20, 25 years, and then you start withdrawing money, remember you can withdraw your basis tax-free, borrow your interest tax-free, and that's how they're coming up with it'll beat the pants off of, because they assume you to be in a super high tax bracket when you retire, and you're taking money out of a life insurance policy tax-free. But what I would consider to be your first stop in retirement planning. For those that have already maxed out their 401k, sure, it makes some sense, especially if you talk to guys like Gene Pastula, who say, well, yeah, you can buy this particular life insurance policy, and you can put this disability waiver of premium on it, so if you get disabled, we'll keep funding it for you. And you'll have this accelerated death benefit in the event that you have a long-term care. Now it starts to look every bit as good, if not better, than a Roth IRA. But it is not better. It won't beat the pants off of any 401k, because I can imagine 401ks over the last 7 or 8 years that have beaten the pants off of every permanent life insurance policy out there. But then again, that's me. George, it's hard for me because I know how these things work, and they are very competitive. And for the right person, probably a wealthier person, perhaps a younger person, perhaps someone in a high income tax bracket that has staying power, that can afford to save over a very long time period, that has a need for a death benefit, that person is a perfect candidate for this type of a, quote, bank on yourself. But they make it sound like, hey, you put the money in the bank, and 2 years later, if you need to get your hands on that money to buy a car, you can do that, and you know, you don't have to pay your money back, but if you pay it back, and they go through this whole scenario that I find somewhat disingenuous. Next up, who do we have here, fellas? It looks like Stan the Man. How can I plan for year-end and 2018 when I don't know what taxes will be? Well, I don't think whatever they come up with will be retroed to January 1, 2017. Do you, Stan? I mean, they're going to be lucky to get this thing done by Christmas, if they get it done. You got a couple of dissident senators still out there. I mean, some of them pretty nasty the other day, right? They claim they might vote for the tax bill. But listen, you just can't do that. You've got to plan for what we know today. And what we know today are the limitations in terms of income and so forth, the 5 or 6 or 7 different brackets. You've got to plan based on that staying the same for this year. Now, planning for next year, I know they're talking about acing out the state income tax. Personal exemptions are going to be gone. I mean, I'm concerned about that too from a planning standpoint. One of the things that one might say, well, let's accelerate your state income tax deduction here. And that works, except that when you have too many deductions, like the state income tax deduction, you get thrown into the alternative minimum tax, which they're also going to get rid of, but that'll be next year. So, Stan, I wish I had a better answer for you. I think you've got to sit down with your, and this goes for everybody. You know, we're almost in November here. I suggest immediately you scheduling a meeting with your financial team to do not only tax planning, and by the way, if you're self-employed, this is imperative. Imperative. I met with the self-employed last week or the week before, and the amount of potential tax savings for this particular individual is in the hundreds of thousands of dollars if they can make a move between now and year end. It's a self-employment move I don't need to get into on the air. Maybe at a later date I will. But this is the time that you do tax planning. Okay, I'm out of time. Again, a special thanks to Mr. Pastula at SafeMoneyMonitor.com, and a special thank you to each and every one of you. I'm glad that you were here for the entire hour, and I hope that you can join us for the next hour on The Ray Lucia Show. Now go out and make it a great day. God bless. Bye-bye.
You're listening to The Ray Lucia Show, bringing you the best in money information, answering questions about your biggest financial challenges, talking about your money, your business, and your life. Ray Lucia is not a registered representative of or affiliated with any securities brokerage or investment advisory firm. The views and opinions expressed by Ray and his guests are not necessarily those of this station or its sponsors and should not be construed as legal, tax, or investment advice. You should always consult with the appropriate advisors before making any financial decisions. Ray is available to take your questions online at Ray Lucia. You are watching Biz TV.
Time for your Biz Talk News headlines. I'm Kendall Baldwin. President Trump travels to Dallas, Texas to attend a GOP fundraiser amid a growing feud between him and two other Republican senators. On Tuesday, Arizona Senator Jeff Flake announced he would not seek re-election next year before criticizing the president of his, quote, reckless, outrageous, and undignified behavior. Tennessee Senator Bob Corker, who is also retiring at the end of his term, also bashed Mr. Trump for telling lies. The president says he intends to release thousands of documents about the John F. Kennedy's assassination. Kennedy, the nation's 35th president, was murdered in Dallas 54 years ago. Congress has set a Thursday deadline for all material related to the tragedy to be released. And the Los Angeles Dodgers have taken Game 1 of the World Series. The Dodgers beat the Houston Astros 3-1 at Dodger Stadium last night. Despite the record heat, Game 2 takes place in sweltering Los Angeles again today. This is Biz Talk News.
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-604-6476. That's 1-800-604-6476.
Shares of Boeing Company dropped 1% in trade as better than expected third quarter results weren't enough to appease investors after recent sharp gains. The Boeing Company stocks have run up 25% over the past 3 months through Tuesday, while the Dow has gained 8.5%. And Sprint Corporation reported a narrower than expected second quarter loss before the market opened today. Shares of the wireless company were up nearly 2% after the report, but turned negative soon after. Sprint reported a net loss of $48 million compared to a loss of $142 million during the same period a year ago. Chipotle says that October to date, same restaurant sales are up 2% to 3%. Chipotle shares are down 20.1% for the past year, while the S&P 500 index is up nearly 20% for the period. This is Biz Talk News.
If you are age 85 or younger,
call 1-800-520-8940.
To learn about the benefits of having a senior life insurance plan. The average funeral costs between $7,000 and $10,000, but the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255, leaving your loved ones to pay your debt. A senior life insurance plan will pay up to $30,000 with immediate payout. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. The rates for this type of plan will never increase and your benefits will never decrease. And your plan cannot be canceled. Call now for free, no obligation information. Also receive information about a free prescription discount card by calling now. Operators are standing by.
Call 1-800-520-8940. That's 1-800-520-8940.
This is Biz Talk Discovery and I'm Carl Wolfenden. If you want to show that you have faith, you need to check out this jewelry, which really showcases what you believe.
All About Jesus Designs is my baby, is basically where I make handmade Christian items as far as handmade jewelry, handmade necklaces, bracelets, earrings. I have a few prayer crosses as well. I sell them on a platform known as Etsy, which is for handmade goods and vintage goods only. I love custom work. My only requirement is that it glorifies God and it's not anything contrary to the Word of God. I love working with my customers to come up with different ideas as far as colors, different scriptures. I fell in love with Etsy just because it would give me the opportunity to share my love for Christ with those around the world. The world is in such trouble right now, and we need Jesus more and more. And if I can give my little part, that makes me ecstatic, so happy.
When I met Anthony, it felt right from the start. I never thought I would have another half, and it has changed my life.
An added bonus of marrying her is she actually encourages me to play video games.
When we met each other, it was not awkward. We're not awkward people. Well, he's kind of awkward. I would suggest eHarmony because it does it a different way than other sites do.
Stop waiting. Start communicating for free today.
This is the Ray Lucia Show.
Coming to the best for the answers here.
The one show that helps you make better money moves. The program all about your money, your business, and your life.
You guys talk about a lot of really good information that even I can understand.
Call Ray now at 844-RAY-SHOW, 844-RAY-SHOW. This is the Ray Lucia Show.
Thank you very much. Thank you and welcome. It is indeed the Ray Lucia program. That's me. Glad to have you on board for this hour of Money Power. The phone line's always open for you at 844-RAY-SHOW, 844-729-7469. A little easier to get through on the email because I get them right here on my iPhone. And I go to my iPhone and read them off because if you email me during the course of this program, I will get to your email. I just got one last hour, actually, from Janet, who wants to know about taking a lump sum or an annuity when she retires next year. And that sounds like an easy question, but it's not. The rules may be changing come January, and there's just so much in that discussion. I'll have to tackle that a little bit later. 844-729-7469. Emails at raylucia.com, RAYLUCIA.com. Well, coming up on the program today, diversification, boring but beautiful. I was teasing the TV audience. I said, sounds a little bit like my wife. Yeah, boring but beautiful. And sometimes boring is best, whether it be your portfolio or your spouse. A lot to be said about that. Also, you guys, come on. Staying in the game. Also, I want to talk about today, because right now the market's another record high. It's every day we seem to be getting a new record high on the Dow, and the market's been, it's a stunning performance Trump, I think, has added. Trump hasn't added, but you know what I'm saying. Since he's gotten elected, $5 trillion of additional wealth, the wealth effect, so to speak. Not bad. Most of us that have been invested in 401ks and IRAs and in the stock market and brokerage accounts have done exceptionally well. But you got to stay in the game to enjoy the game. If you're sitting on the bench, you're not having much fun. In fact, it's even worse because you're watching all your pals that are playing and having a good time and enjoying the game, and you're on the bench. Market timing, we know that doesn't work. And what about volatility? What about volatility? A lot of people are saying, hey, the market's been very, very calm lately. But you know what? It's not. The markets have experienced big, huge downturns most of the time throughout most years. This has been quite the anomaly lately, where the market just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. I remember it was like that in the mid to late 90s. And in December of 1996, Alan Greenspan, the then Federal Reserve Board chairman, said that the market was getting a little too frothy. I think he used the term irrationally exuberant. And that was in 1996, but if you got out then, you missed a huge run up in 97, 98, and 99. And he was right. He was just early. Oh, timing is so hard. But I start today with this because I'm asked all the time, and I was asked the other day by a millennial about the stock market, because the millennial was saying, well, you know, my parents have lost all their money in the stock market and now they're in cash or whatever. And I said, well, what do you mean they lost all their money in the stock market? See, people make those statements and it's dumb. Not that the kid's dumb. He's not a kid. The young man is dumb. But that is a dumb statement. So I'm going to cover that. Sit back, folks. Relax. It's the Ray program helping you to make better money moves. I hear that ad on the radio all the time. Can you afford to lose 50% of your retirement plan again? Have you heard that ad? I hear it, you know, almost every morning driving into the studio. You lost 50%, but did you? Did you sell? Were you that stupid? Pardon me. But were you really that dumb that the stock market went down 57%, if you want to be accurate, peak to trough, and you woke up one morning and say, I'm done. I'm finished. I'm out of here. Oh, I know a lot of you did, but not those that listen to this program every day. Because what happened since then has been absolutely stunning. And we got into this debate, me and this millennial young man. He's a very nice guy, actually. And he wanted to know how long it took to get back to even. And I didn't have the numbers off the top of my head, so I went and looked them up. And I have, who did I get this from? JP Morgan Asset Management. Okay, so the market peaked in October of 2007. So let's just say this millennial's parents had $100,000. And it was all in the stock market. It dropped down with a loss of over 50%. So they had like $43,000 by, August, September, something like that, of 2008. Somewhere in that ballpark. Maybe it was, it was March of 2009 when it was, yeah, that's right, March of 2009. I'm looking at this graph and I'm saying this graph doesn't make sense. But it was March 9th of 2009 where the market hit its low. All right, now, how long did it take to get back to even? On March of 2012, the Standard & Poor's 500 recovered. So from March to March, 3 years. 3 years. So if this fellow's parents couldn't afford to wait out 3 years after the second worst crash in American history, the worst since the Great Depression, and laws have changed on leverage and borrowing and margins and all that stuff since the 1929 debacle. So you wouldn't think, I mean, it's possible, but you wouldn't think we would get it with an 80 or 90% black swan again. It could happen. But even then, the market recovered, what, 5, 6, 7 years later? But you can't wait 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You're not an investor. Now, I also looked at a 60-40 mix of stocks and bonds. And I determined that you got all your money back by October of 2010. I mean, that's a year and a half. So you're a 60-40 mix of stocks and bonds. You get all your money back within a year and a half from the second worst crash in American history. And for those that are a tad more faint-hearted, I looked at a 40-60 mix. 40% stock and 60% bonds. And you got all your money back by November of 2009. Let's see, I got to use my fingers. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 8 months. 8 months. So when I hear these advertisements on the radio, or I talk to this young millennial about how people lost all their money in the Great Crash, it's annoying. It is annoying because of the lack of education, because of the lack of patience, because people seem to think that there's something wrong with delayed gratification. Everybody wants the markets to go up every single day, and when they go down, they want to give up the ghost. No, don't do it, because the markets do tend to recover, and they recover quite nicely. And the worst thing you can do is sell out after a market crash. Now, I bring that up because we're seeing record after record after record after record. And you know and I know this cannot last. I hope it does. I hope for your sake, my sake, and all my friends' sake, and everybody that's got money invested in the market, that it lasts. And if the market corrects, it goes down. I heard somebody talk about a 3% correction. They were waiting for a 3% correction to buy the dip. I mean, I don't want to call them a dip, but I probably could. I shouldn't. But that's just stupid. If people waiting for a 3% dip, or a 4 or 5% or a 10% correction, waiting a long time, leaving a ton of money on the sidelines. Think about it. If the market had a 10% correction today, you'd be giving back 10% of like 20% you've already gotten, 25% in the last year or so. No big deal. So, how long might it take to get back to even? 1 year? You're diversified? Stocks and bonds? 2 years maybe? 3 years all stock in the worst crash since the Great Depression? Maybe it's 5 years? I'm going to talk about a 5-year plan coming up when we return. Don't go away. It's the Ray Lucia Show.
You lack discipline.
Is your body storing fat more easily? Do you suffer from a lack of energy? Or the draining side effects of restless sleep? How about an increase in wrinkles and even sagging skin?
Hi, I'm Kim Douglas, and as a beauty expert always on the hunt for the next great breakthrough, when I heard about a youth hormone that was associated with reducing body fat, increasing lean muscle mass, and even reducing the appearance of wrinkles, I just had to learn more. I'm talking about human growth hormone, or HGH, and as early as our mid-20s, our natural production of HGH begins to drop dramatically. Here's the good news. Finally, there's Serovital.
Serovital is the first and only amino acid complex shown in a clinical trial to trigger the body's own natural release of HGH from the pituitary gland and increase mean HGH levels by an astonishing 682%.
HGH has been associated with reducing body fat, reducing the appearance of wrinkles, improving sleep, and even boosting energy. As a doctor and a woman, I am very excited that now I can tell women everywhere about Serovital.
Serovital boosts your HGH naturally and at a fraction of the cost of painful injections. Serovital sells for $99 in stores. But call right now because we're letting as many women as possible try Serovital for 30 days absolutely risk-free. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes and we'll also include free shipping. You owe it to yourself to try Serovital for 30 days. It's absolutely risk-free.
Serovital is a true scientific breakthrough, 20 years in the making.
Get the facts at myserovital.com. Supplies are limited. Call 1-800-285-7001 or go to myserovital.com for your risk-free trial today.
Glasses and contacts. You need them to see, but they put such a strain on your life, you miss precious moments. Due to new advances in vision improvement technology, LASIK is now affordable for almost everyone, with procedures starting as low as $299 per eye and over 1 million procedures performed by our trusted independent surgeons. LASIK surgery is a sensible, safe, and affordable solution to improve your vision. Our simple 3-step process begins with a free evaluation, followed by an extensive preoperative exam to determine if you're a candidate for LASIK eye surgery. Depending on the results of your evaluation and eye exam, you and your surgeon will choose the LASIK option that works best for you. So call now to talk to a LASIK Vision Institute counselor and schedule your free evaluation. That's a $100 value, free. Call the LASIK Vision Institute for your free evaluation and enjoy more of your life.
Call 1-800-218-0586. 1-800-218-0586.
What if you had a medical emergency away from home?
My chest hurts. I can't breathe.
What you need is Mobile Help, America's premier mobile medical alert system. Most systems only work at home, but with Mobile Help, you get help outside the home with coverage nationwide on one of the largest cellular networks at the press of a button. Call the number on your screen for a free full-color brochure. We'll send you everything you need, including this base station, the patented mobile device, and the waterproof pendant and wrist button. You can also add the fall button that automatically detects falls and signals help. Call today and receive a risk-free 30-day trial. There is no equipment to buy and no long-term contract. For a limited time, you will also receive a free emergency key box with your plan purchase. Remember, Mobile Help keeps you safe coast to coast.
Call 1-800-916-2379. That's 1-800-916-2379.
You know, anyone that's been to one of my workshops or tuned into this program over the last 25 years knows that I like the stats, because if you live by the stats and the historical stuff, you have the tendency to be able to make decisions and stick with those decisions. Because one of the things that we've learned in behavioral finance is if you leave it to your own brain, you're going to screw it up, man. You are going to screw it up in a big way, because we are hardwired to head for the hills when the market starts to implode. And that's what a lot of people do, and they usually get creamed. We've learned this from the Dalbar studies and so forth. But as I have said many, many times, and I've used various target dates for investing in the market and so forth, I'm sure you've heard me talk about 5 to 7 years of relatively safe money, cash and fixed annuities and stuff like that, to take care of the first 5 to 7 years of income needs in retirement. But if you don't need any income for the first 5 to 7 years, there's no reason to have a whole lot of money sitting in cash. And so I pulled the Ibbotson data on this to help me recall, because, you know, it's hard when you get to my age to remember all this stuff, all right? Just is. And I'm looking at 1-year volatility charts on the Standard & Poor's 500. The worst 1-year return is minus 39%. And remember, usually when you have a minus 39, the next year is not so hot either. Sometimes it bounces back. But if you go like the 2000, 2001, 2002, you had 3 years in a row where it was pretty dismal. The best year, 47%. That's quite a swing, from minus 39 to plus 47. It's like a 90% almost swing in rates of return. Now, if you were an all bond portfolio, the swing is from -8, yes, you can lose 8% in a bond market, that's been the worst year, to a +43. That's pretty good on the upside. Upside in bonds almost as high. That's a radical reduction in interest rates, and probably right after the market crash in 29, I'm suspecting, I don't know for certain. And a 50-50 mix of stocks and bonds, -15 to a +33. That's over 1 year. But check this out. Over that 5-year period of time, if you can actually wait 5 years for that so-called intermediate term money, Ibbotson went all the way back to 1950. And from 1950 through 2016, looking at rolling 5-year periods on a 50-50 mix, the best 5-year period delivered a 21% return, and the worst 5-year period delivered a positive 1% return. Now, I've got to ask you a question. 1% sounds pretty crappy, but that's about what you're going to get in a 5-year CD today, maybe a little bit more. So what's the problem with buy and hold? I moved on. I looked at 10 years. And the worst performance for the Standard & Poor's 500 over 10 years since 1950 is still a positive 2%. About what the 10-year Treasury is earning right now, 2.4, whatever. But the best 10 years, 16%. You would think that it'd be somewhere in between. But you've heard me talk about 15-year time horizons. I've often said, if I'm going to invest money in the stock market, I want to make sure that I've got the first 15 years covered, because there's never been a 15-year period in all of history where stocks have lost. But if you go back to 1950, and remember, the laws are a lot different since after the Great Depression than they are today. The stock market seemingly would not perform the same way, but you don't know. And that's why it's instructive to look at these things. But check this out. The worst 15-year performance for the Standard & Poor's 500 over a 15-year period is 7%. 7%. That means your money doubled once and a half, basically. That's pretty good. The best performance is 17%. That had to be the 15 years that ended probably in 99. But that's astonishing. So as I relate these stories, by the way, if you were in a 50-50 portfolio, you still made 5% on your money. Still better than most money market funds, etc. If you were in a bond portfolio, the worst was a 1% rate of return. So you don't want to be in all bonds, and you may not want to be all in stocks, but certainly for the first 5 years, those are the critical years. Those are the ones where you can get stung in stocks and bonds. And it's why I have talked about annuitizing a certain amount of income, adding income-producing direct-owned real estate to help supplement your income needs, those basic essential income needs, and then filling the gap with CDs, etc. Money markets, laddered treasuries, perhaps fixed annuities, etc. And if you've got the first 5 years covered, what we've learned is a balanced fund of 50-50 has got a 0 statistical chance of losing money over 5 years. Now, it may not make much since 1950. Worst case, 1%. Best case, 21%. Pick a number somewhere in between. I'm fine with it. Maybe it's 3, maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10. I don't know. I do know this. There hasn't been a loss. So that's your intermediate term money, maybe from the 5th year to the 10th year or 15th year. Because if you can leave your money alone for 15 years, that money can all be in stocks. Because since 1950, statistically speaking, the worst 15-year performance, 7%. Money doubles every 10 years at 7%. Not bad, especially not bad if inflation remains low. And inflation today is about 2%. I suspect it will stay there. So what have we learned by this little diatribe that I've gone on? We've learned that staying invested matters. We've also learned that if you need short-term money because you need to eat tomorrow, then you have to finance that not with a stock investment, but with more like a cash investment. On an intermediate term basis, sure, you can use more balanced accounts. But on a long-term basis, there ain't nothing better than stocks and real estate. How good has real estate been? It's been the best performing asset over the last 20 years. I'll tell you about that next. Stick around.
What if you could magically split your phone in half and have one for personal calls and one for business calls? And what if the business side of your phone came with a receptionist? 2 phone lines, 1 phone, magic. Add an extra phone line to your mobile just for business. Try eVoice free for 60 days. Go to evoice.com and enter promo code MAGIC.
I was a single mom looking for a man, not only for myself, but for my son. When I went on eHarmony, I had to fill out a lot of questions about myself, so they really got to know who I was and what I was looking for.
eHarmony, I think, is the only dating website that could bring somebody to me, the exact kind of person I was looking for. Other sites seemed really shallow. There's no perfect match beyond Angela. She's the best person for me.
Maybe it's your turn. Stop waiting. Start communicating for free today.
Biz Talk News wants to feature your business as part of our Discovery feature. Biz Talk Discovery highlights businesses that are not yet known nationally, but offer products or services that benefit Biz TV viewers. Biz TV is the only national TV network that focuses on entrepreneurs, small business owners, and people looking to manage their assets. Available in over 40 markets on broadcast TV and online via biztvclub.com. Biz TV wants to help get the word out about your business. So why not join the many others whose businesses have benefited from this widespread exposure? If you're interested in having your business featured on a future episode of Biz Talk Discovery, send us an email. The address, discovery@biztv.com. That's discovery@biztv.com. And one of our associate producers will contact you to see if your business qualifies. That's discovery@biztv.com.
That used to be me, standing in line to get my money and paying my bills with cash. Now, I save time and money with my NetSpend prepaid MasterCard. It works better for me than a traditional bank account. There's no credit check and no minimum balance required. I load it with my money. Or with free direct deposit, I can get my paycheck up to 2 days faster. I can even get my government check faster.
I wake up in the morning and my money is in my account. I get paid faster with direct deposit.
With NetSpend, I can pay my bills online and use it anywhere debit MasterCard is accepted. They even send me text alerts after every purchase, or I can check my balance online. The best part? It's easy to keep track of my spending, so I'm in control.
The number is 800-965-4220. Just call 800-965-4220 or go to netspendnow.com.
Introducing the DVR Plus from Channel Master, a truly unique HD DVR that delivers everything you want from subscription-free TV. With dual HD tuner technology and virtually unlimited recording capacity, the DVR Plus lets you enjoy the big game while recording your favorite broadcast show. And the DVR Plus lets you watch the most popular TV networks with the highest quality crystal clear HD picture for free. Just connect an HD antenna and you're ready to go. Connect the DVR Plus to high-speed internet and get even more. Enjoy instant access to shows and movies not available on broadcast television. With the DVR Plus, watching subscription-free TV is easy. You can access your video-on-demand favorites and all your local broadcast channels in one intuitive guide. That's an industry first. Slim and stylish, the DVR Plus delivers everything you love about TV without the subscription. Get your DVR Plus at channelmaster.com or call us toll-free.
When you have credit card debt, the debt suckers, high rate and high pay, never leave you alone.
Debt is really sucking the life out of them.
Yes, they look like death warmed over.
He's picking up the phone, probably calling his uncle to borrow money.
Thank you for calling Consolidated Credit.
Oh, no, not Consolidated Credit.
With one call, they can lower their credit card rates.
And consolidate their bills into one low payment.
They'll pay off their debt in no time. Put down the phone!
Put down the phone! Order a pizza.
With extra red sauce. That Consolidated Credit makes it too quick and easy to get rid of us.
Thanks to Consolidated Credit, there can be life after death.
Call Consolidated Credit now and get your life back.
Because debt sucks.
Call 1-800-206-0697. 800-206-0697. That's 800-206-0697. Call now.
And welcome back to the Ray Lucia Show. I was going to talk about diversification, boring but beautiful. And they play a ZZ Top, she's got legs, and she knows how to use them. I love it. I love it. I am going to talk about that because, you know, before the break, I teased real estate a little bit because we always talk about the stock market in the context of it's the best performing asset class and so forth. But the truth is that when you look back historically in time, real estate investment trusts have actually been the best performing asset class. So as I was going back and looking at Ibbotson data, I decided to look at the asset class returns. And here's what's interesting, going all the way back to 2002, the number one performing asset class, and this they're looking at commodities and fixed income, high yield, REITs, cash, emerging markets, developed markets, small cap and large cap. So those are all the asset classes in this thing that we used to call a Callan chart. I don't know if they still call it that. But real estate investment trusts, the number one producer amongst all those other asset classes in 04, 06, 2010, 11, and 12, 14, and 15. With an annualized return, even including its minus 37% in 08, 10.8%. That's pretty darn stellar. You know what came in second over that, 15-year time period? Emerging market equities, stuff that nobody wants to touch now. For whatever reason, nobody wants to be in emerging market equities. But yet, over that 15-year period, looked pretty good. What came in third? High-yield bonds. That's amazing to me. High-yield bonds, I've always liked the so-called junk bonds. But they're more like a stock. They're a buy and holder. Next, small cap at 8.5%. High yield bonds are at 9.2%, compounded for 15 years. That's pretty darn good. Small cap at 8.5%. Then large cap at 6.7%. International markets at 5.8%. Fixed income, like regular bonds, at 4.6%. Cash at 1.3%. And in last place, commodities at 1.2%. Yet you see these commercials all the time about putting your money into commodities, and I'm all for it. I'm all for buying an insurance policy. That's what it is. It's insurance against inflation, huge black swan events, I don't know, hyperinflation, Weimar Republic stuff, I don't know. But if a person feels comfortable having a safe deposit box and having $5,000 of gold in there, God bless you. I'm fine with that. But here is the point that I want to make. If you owned an equal percentage of each of those assets, you obviously didn't do 10.8%. That's what REITs did. That was the best performing asset class. You earned about 7% over that 15-year time period, about 7%. So you still did fine when you were diversified. Now, let me see if I can find the worst year. It's got to be 2008, minus 25.4%. Still third best. Fixed income in 08 was up 5.2%. Cash was up 1.8%. And that asset allocation of an equal share of all of those asset classes, minus 25. High yield, minus 27. Small cap, minus 34. Commodities, minus 36. Large cap, minus 37. REITs, almost minus 38. International markets, minus 43. And emerging markets, minus 53% in 1 year. So diversification, it is, of course, boring, but it is also quite beautiful. All right, finally, let me cover this whole thing of market volatility and market timing, because we haven't seen much volatility, and my fear is this. When volatility returns, and it will, when it returns, a lot of people are going to head for the hills. So in my research for today's program, I looked at the Standard & Poor's 500 intra-year declines. Not calendar year, but intra-year. And what I learned is this. Every single cotton picking year has a certain amount of rough patches. Now, lately, they've been hard to find. But every year, every calendar year since 1980, we have seen some kind of an intra-year decline. Markets have suffered double-digit declines in 21 of the past 37 years. So think about that for a minute. If you're a buy and hold investor, in 21 out of the last 37 years, you've had to endure a double-digit decline. Now, I get a kick out of all these guys that say, well, I want to put stops on all my stocks. Well, maybe if you're buying individual stocks, that could work. Usually doesn't, but it could. Gets you out, but then you got to know when to get back in. What if you took that same mentality and you had, quote, stops on your 401k? In 21 of the last 37 years, you'd have been out of the market. But here's what's interesting. Despite that many pullbacks, 75% of those years ended up with positive returns. So you would have been wrong 3/4 of the times. It's just impossible to time the stock market. It's why I have always preached, almost ad nauseum, that you need to have enough safe money on the sidelines that you can spend for whatever you need to spend money on. And as I mentioned in our last segment, or the segment before, a 50-50 mix of stocks and bonds has got a statistical 0% chance, looking at data from 1950 forward, rolling 5-year periods, a statistical chance of not losing money. And in fact, a statistical chance of making you better than just 1 or 2%. But this interesting chart that I'm looking at on the intra-year declines would scare the bejeebers out of anybody if you saw this. And in fact, if you go back to like 2008, the intra-year decline was minus 49% in 1 year, with a minus 10% the year before that. Okay, so let's talk about timing. I've discussed this before, market timing, that if you miss, a certain amount of days, you miss a lot. So this also is really interesting. Fully invested from January 1, 1997 to December 30 of 2016. Remember, we had 2 major crashes. The S&P did 7.68% compounded. If you missed the 10 best days, you only made 4%. But here's what's interesting. 6 of the 10 best days occurred within 2 weeks of the 10 worst days. So chances are you ain't getting back in for those best days, or worst days, I should say. If you miss the 20 best days, 1.57%. If you miss the 30 best days, 30 days over 20 years, 30 days over 20 years, you made nothing. A minus 0.51%. That's all you would have got. If you miss the 40 best days, minus 2.42%. If you miss the 50 best days, minus 4.6%, and the 60 best days, minus 5.7%. You're not going to miss the 50 best days. You're not going to miss the 50 worst days either. You must stay invested. You must have a strategy that keeps you invested. You must have a strategy that will keep your powder dry so that your brain doesn't force you into doing the wrong things at the wrong times for the wrong reasons, because that's how we're wired. Email's next, right here on The Ray Lucia Show.
I'm nationwide. I'm nationwide.
Is your body storing fat more easily? Do you suffer from a lack of energy? Or the draining side effects of restless sleep? How about an increase in wrinkles and even sagging skin?
Hi, I'm Kim Douglas, and as a beauty expert always on the hunt for the next great breakthrough, when I heard about a youth hormone that was associated with reducing body fat, increasing lean muscle mass, and even reducing the appearance of wrinkles, I just had to learn more. I'm talking about human growth hormone, or HGH, and as early as our mid-20s, our natural production of HGH begins to drop dramatically. Here's the good news. Finally, there's Serovital.
Serovital is the first and only amino acid complex shown in a clinical trial to trigger the body's own natural release of HGH from the pituitary gland and increase mean HGH levels by an astonishing 682%.
HGH has been associated with reducing body fat, reducing the appearance of wrinkles, improving sleep, and even boosting energy. As a doctor and a woman, I am very excited that now I can tell women everywhere about Serovital.
Serovital boosts your HGH naturally and at a fraction of the cost of painful injections. Serovital sells for $99 in stores. But call right now because we're letting as many women as possible try Serovital for 30 days absolutely risk-free. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes and we'll also include free shipping. You owe it to yourself to try Serovital for 30 days. It's absolutely risk-free.
Serovital is a true scientific breakthrough, 20 years in the making.
Get the facts at myserovital.com. Supplies are limited. Call 1-800-285-7001 or go to myserovital.com for your risk-free trial today.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain or knee pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back